All right, this is the Fantasy Sports Boss with another fantasy football trend or mirage. And today I wanted to talk about the Los Angeles Chargers quarterback, Justin Herbert, who in almost all leagues was the third quarterback off the board behind Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. And even in some leagues went ahead of Mahomes. But, in terms of Herbert, his first two seasons in the NFL were absolutely spectacular. 31 and 38 touchdown passes, 4,300 yards as a rookie, 5,000 yards as an NFL sophomore. So there was certainly a lot of expectations in a very pass-happy offense under Brandon Staley that Herbert was even set to go even higher with his overall numbers this season. Unfortunately, things haven't exactly broken that way. In a week 2 rib fracture injury that Herbert suffered against the Kansas City Chiefs certainly can be looked at as a line of demarcation in terms of Herbert's numbers taking a dive from the first 2 games of the season. And certainly he began the season like gangbusters. 3 touchdown passes against the Las Vegas Raiders, followed by 3 more touchdown passes against the Kansas City Chiefs. But in the subsequent 4 games against the Jacksonville Jaguars, Houston Texans, Cleveland Browns, and Denver Broncos, not exactly imposing defenses, Herbert has thrown a grand total of 4 touchdowns, and including a 0 against the Broncos on Monday night, which snapped a very long streak of touchdown passes per game for Herbert. So, one has to wonder, is the rib fracture inhibiting Herbert's play, and is this something that's going to impact him the whole season? Now, in terms of this rib fracture, it was said initially that even Herbert should have missed the game for this, but he fought through it. He's tough as nails. He doesn't miss games. But they said the medical experts noted that he could be impacted by this for a while. And certainly it's not a coincidence that after the fracture, his numbers have gone down. The touchdown numbers have really plummeted. And he hasn't looked overly that crisp. In addition, Herbert is really not doing much of any running. So, not that he was a scrambling quarterback, but his first couple of years in the league, he picked up, over 300 yards one season, 230 the next, and he's doing next to no running now. So is that a hedge because of the rib injury? Almost certainly yes. All right. I mean, the high for Herbert this season in rushing yards is only 13 yards. He went for 9 against Denver on Monday night. So that is not part of his game. And listen, all the yardage counts for points. So while it's not a lot of points, it's points that Herbert is not getting. Combine that with the lower touchdown rate, and he has certainly been a sizable disappointment so far in fantasy football. Now, will this continue? Right now, I'm going to say, and I'm fairly confident that what we're seeing out of Herbert is a mirage. Okay, it's not a trend; it's a mirage. Keenan Allen. It's also not a coincidence that Herbert's numbers that have offensive numbers have dipped with the injury absence of Keenan Allen, who's hurt his hamstring back in the beginning of the season. So Allen has missed, pretty much the entire season outside of the opener with the hamstring injury. He had a setback in practice a couple of weeks ago. He should return for week 7. And I think with Allen, who is a tremendous safety valve for Herbert, while Mike Williams is the deep threat, I think having Allen back along with Austin Eckler really will soften up defenses and allow Herbert to go back to the stud he was the first couple of years in the league. Yes, he will probably continue to run a lot less because of the rib fracture, but the absence of Keenan Allen is very crucial. And I think that more than anything has been the main cause of Herbert's drop in numbers. Not as much the rib fracture. So I think what we're seeing out of Herbert is a mirage. If you want to try to buy low on him, I certainly would do that. This remains a very pass-happy offense. Austin Eckler is piling up the receptions. He's on pace for 116 catches. Mike Williams, 3 great games, 3 duds. I think he'll get a little bit more consistency with Allen back in the fold. And Gerald Everett has developed nicely as well at tight end. So this is clearly a mirage in my case. Go get Justin Herbert if you can buy low on him for the rest of the season. All right. Make sure you hit the subscribe, hit the notification button. More videos on the way soon.